A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media, and today I was actually thinking of bringing you a board game playthrough. And as I was kind of searching through all of my board games and stuff for something quick and simple that you would enjoy, maybe Marvel Champions or Final Girl, the videos seem to be getting a lot of hits, I actually stumbled across this. This was my deck of cards, or my deck for the Warhammer 40k Conquest LCG. This is an orc deck. You can see I even have the orc sleeves to go along with it. And it got me kind of thinking about all of the other card games that I've invested my money into, and just kind of never got around to playing, primarily because they were two-player, and I'm naturally a solo gamer. I did try to get my wife into Magic the Gathering at one point and things like that, but she's not that much of a hobby gamer herself. So I thought I'd bring you a video today just kind of going over some of the old card games that I've invested in that I still actually have for whatever reason. So this was Conquest. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I actually gave my copy of Conquest to my good friend in Australia. But yeah, now the first one I want to show you is not actually a two-player game, although you can play it. It's a cooperative card game, and that is the Pathfinder adventure card game. I no longer have the first edition boxes of Rise of the Rune Lords, Skulls and Shackles, and the Demon one. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Pathfinder adventure card game, Pathfinder was basically Dungeons & Dragons 3.5-ish, a fantastic rule system and a fantastic world. My phone just went weird there. So the world of Golarion, the Pathfinder people would release campaigns for the RPG, the first of which being called Rise of the Rune Lords, and it was basically 6 adventures, and you play through this entire campaign. And then they transferred that over to the Pathfinder adventure card game, which was a card game that I was rabidly in love with. I subscribed to Paizo to get the boxes and all of the adventure decks and everything. And I still happen to have my character class decks. These were boxes like this that came with kind of extra cards. So if you open up this box, so you get kind of extra equipment, magic half plates, all of these kind of stuff. But you also got new characters that you could play as. Hegel, a new version of Kyra. You had new, these were, what do you call them? Like when you got to a certain level, you kind of picked what skills you were proficient with. And there's your kind of character cards. So you got weapons, equipment, new spells or more spells. So you can see there, this was the score that you had to roll to acquire this card. And then magic weapons, allies, which this was a really great game, and new blessings. And I played every campaign, absolutely loved it, more than once. Like, I was a huge, huge fan of this game. You can actually play it, there's a video game version, which isn't too bad, I guess. So this game itself was really great for me. It was a great... It's basically a deck builder, dice rolling game. But just to show you how invested I was in this game. So that's the cleric. I had the sorcerer, ranger, and each one comes with 109 cards. Druid, rogue, bard, alchemist, paladin, oracle, monk, barbarian, wizard, fighter. I still have these. I don't think I'll get rid of them anytime soon, although if someone out there really loves the game, or the first edition of the game at least. Yeah, so that was Pathfinder, the adventure card game. One of my all-time favorite games of all time, which sadly I do not own it anymore. But that is fine. Now the next game, I have a few of the... I'm just going to show you a few of the boxes here. Android Netrunner. Now, this is a game, and some data packs that go along with it. This is a game that I really wished I had discovered back when I was living in Australia. My friend Ian would have absolutely fucking loved this game. For those of you that aren't familiar with Android Netrunner, the card game, basically one of you is a hacker and the other player is a corporation. And the hacker's job is to basically try and break into the servers of the corporation. And the corporation puts ICE, which if you're familiar with cyberpunk, there's like programs to stop the hacker kind of breaking in. And there were a ton of box sets and data packs and everything. And the game really looked a hell of a lot of fun. So if we open the, hey, Eldritch Horror, love that game. So we have the components, the expansion kind of overview, and the cards that come with that expansion. So you have like programs and ICE, things like that. And it really is, in my opinion, a fantastic game, like a fantastic cyberpunkish card game. So, you know, Cyberdeck versus thing. We just get a whole lot of, you get some new characters, new identities, I should say. To use, and each set kind of focused on a new corporation or a new type of runner. So in this case, it's the Anarchs. They give you a deck list at the back, and Wayland was the corporation identity in this case. And so these are these decks. If you just want to build the decks, they give you that. So that was Netrunner, and then Honor and Profit was Jinteki and the Criminal identity, and we have all the cards for Honor and Profit. And then the data packs have the blue runner cards and the red corporation cards, and they're just kind of new. Or is it blue corporation, red? I think it's blue is the corporation. Whoops, goes like that. There we go. Yeah, blue was the corporation, red was the runner. A great, great game. One that sadly I've only played maybe once or twice, and never really got a chance to fully explore that and the deck building and things like that. So that is Android Netrunner, a game that I still have. I have a lot of the cards. Now the next one, I don't have any of boxes for it, and there is a reason for that. And I no longer have a lot of the cards, although I did get a majority of the sets, and that is the Star Wars LCG. Now, the reason I have them in these kind of fishing tackle-like boxes is because I've always planned on bringing this game back to Australia when I was on vacation to play with my partner in crime, Ian Van Gammett, who is one of the world's biggest Star Wars fanatics. I believe his favorite movie is The Last Jedi. Ahaha, ahaha. So, these are a bit dusty now. Here are all the tokens for the game. There is the Death Star token and whatnot. But I have constructed decks for each of the 6 factions. There we go. So this is the Scum and Villainy faction. Now, what's interesting about the deck building in this game is that you don't basically buy cards, you buy sets of cards, or you set up sets of cards, all based around these kind of location cards, which are the cards that give you resources. So we have, this one has like the Hunters, Jabba's Reach, the Hunters. So there's 10 of these locations, and each location comes with 5 cards. So you can see these are all like Bounty Hunters, Slave 1, Gamorrean Guard, Bush, Forlom. And basically this is a game where the rebels or the good guys are trying to take out the bases, and the bad guys are basically trying to take out bases and get the Death Star token up. And you can see how much I enjoy this game because I have the Scum and Villainy card sleeves. Scum and Villainy is Jabba the Hutt. Okay, I'm just going to go through each of these because this is a really fun game as well. And they did release a lot of sets for it. Sadly, it is no longer being produced. So this is the Smugglers and Spies. Of course, Han Solo, the quintessential smuggler. We have our land cards, or our locations, I should say. And then this has, Echo Caverns. A lot of the great locations and characters from the Star Wars films. And I believe there's Chewie, Chewbacca, some Renegade Squadron X-Wings, the Millennium Falcon, Dash Render from Shadows of the Empire. So that's the Smugglers and Spies set, or deck, I should say. So I basically built one of each kind of deck with the plans that I would take it back to Australia with me, and Ian and I could just play with whatever deck we wanted. So this is the Rebel Alliance, of course. Classic Luke Skywalker sleeve. I believe I built 2 decks around vehicles. So this one is around the Rebel Alliance vehicles, the X-Wings and things like that. So we have Fleet Commanders, Wookiee Navigator, Admiral Akbar. It's a trap. So the good guys were the Smugglers, the Rebel Alliance. That's the Imperial Navy. That's the Sith. Okay, and then the Jedi. So they were the 3, and the Jedi. I mean, the art on these cards is just gorgeous. And these decks aren't like optimized. I didn't look at any websites or anything for deck building. It's just what I thought would be fun when I play with Ian. And one day we will play together. There's Luke Skywalker in his Endor garb, speeder bike, because why not? Luke's lightsaber, Owen Lars, ancient monuments, believer in the old ways. Oh, Yoda. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Cannot wait for that TV show to come out. That's going to be awesome. Yoda's Hut. So that was the Jedi deck. So you've seen the Smugglers, Rebels, and Jedi. So the Scum and Villainy is the antithesis to the Smuggler deck. The antithesis to the Rebels is the Imperial Navy. Again, I kind of stocked this up with this deck up with ships and things like that. TIE Bomber, Imperial I-Class Star Destroyers, different captains, Super Laser Blast, you know, just stuff that we would recognize from the films and we would have a good time with. TIE Interceptor. So there's a whole bunch of kind of movie tie-in stuff there that I just thought would be cool. And then the last deck to show you is the Sith. And the Sith, of course, has Jarek from the Dark Forces games, Interrogation Droid, Force Lightning, Force Choke, Force Storm, Disturbance in the Force. I chucked the Rancor in here because, you know, why the fuck not? It's a fucking Rancor. Vader's lightsaber. There's Darth Vader himself. And I believe the Sith one also has Night Sisters of Dathomir. Yeah, I put out Emperor Palpatine in as well. A little expensive, but that's half the fun of the game. So that is something that I cannot wait to kind of get to the table with my good friend Ian. I know there are solo rules out there. Kind of not interested in playing it solo. I have since gotten rid of all of the other cards. These are the only Star Wars cards I have, but they are fully playable, fully constructed decks. Last, but certainly not least, is this beast of a game, Call of Cthulhu, the card game. Now, I went on a spree with this game when I found out that it was going out of... it was no longer being printed or no longer being supported by Fantasy Flight Games. This is, I believe, the second edition because it comes with... These are all of the rules and whatnot. It comes with the board. So the board that has the locations set up here. Just a beautifully painted board that goes in the middle of the table. It has the Cthulhu pieces. And the tokens here. But as you can see, like... I pretty much have everything for this game that I could possibly get my hands on over here in South Korea. All the factions, all the neutral cards. This is a really, really fun game. You're basically going to be one of, I believe, 7 factions. And it's all about these symbols on the side. But your cards are also your resources as well. Marvel Champions does this. Marvel Champions, the card game, where your cards act as your resources. But unlike that game, you're not discarding them. You're actually putting your cards down. So once you use a card for a resource, it's basically out of the game for you. So you have to be really careful with what cards you choose, what decks you build. Now, not only do I have these, I also have cards that are completely unopened that I haven't actually touched. I have some of the cards I've started to sleeve. These are the location cards. The Tattered Cloak. My players would recognize the yellow sign there from my Call of Cthulhu. And then all of these cards that are just kind of loose, that I can't fit anywhere at the moment. Beautiful artwork on them. It is a really, really fantastic game. I do actually have one deck that I built. So I put them in green sleeves because this is a kind of Cthulhu Deep One deck. So everything kind of synergizes with the Cthulhu cards, the Deep One cards. There is Cthulhu himself, Ancient One. Again, the only reason I am hanging on so fervently to this game is purely to get it to Australia and to play it with my friend Ian. That is really the only reason why I'm holding on to these. Otherwise, it would have been kind of gone a long time ago. So these are the locations that you are contesting, and you basically do the symbols in order. So you check the terror symbols, you check the skull, you check the lore, then you check the clues, and whoever wins it eventually will get the thing at the bottom, and that is how you win the game. So these are just some of the card games that kind of I've held on to for whatever reason. The two that I'm most desperate to play with my friend are, of course, Star Wars and Call of Cthulhu. But yeah, I just thought this would be a fun, silly little video to make on a Sunday. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, comment on your favorite card games that are no longer in print, because all of these games are no longer being supported by their respective companies, although 3 of them did come from Fantasy Flight Games. Pathfinder came from Paizo. Hit subscribe, leave a comment, follow us on Facebook, follow Ian Van Gamet on Instagram, fucking spectacular artist. We've got a lot more coming up. I've even got some more videos coming out very shortly. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed this. Please, everyone, stay safe. I'll see you in the next video.